All right.
We're rolling?
We're rolling.
Okay.
We're moving.
Once it goes live here, I'll pull up the chat.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, welcome back to another episode of the Breezy Boys podcast.
Yeah. We're outside today.
We're outside where we were supposed to start off and always be.
That's right.
We got kind of a thrown together set right now. Mics weren't working, so we're running off one mic today.
Yep. Does that mean we have to, like, should we be shouting or anything?
I don't think we have
Do we
to
have to be
shout.
louder?
We can try.
One mic should do.
Yeah, one will be all right.
Yeah. It's and I'm not used to I'm used to looking where we usually look inside too, right? Now we can kind of see ourselves up there, but we've got the computer down here, and
Oh, exactly.
I'm not sure how to properly watch myself. But that's why I put my sunglasses on, so no one can
See where you're looking. Exactly.
where I'm looking. Yeah.
You'll just see me constantly looking down.
That's We're not being rude. We're just
double checking everything.
Yeah.
Because our goddamn producers just keep firing them, and we can't find good help these days.
Anyone knows good producer? That's nice. So outside edition, which is more the regular, or like what we want the show to be, more like the norm, but it just hasn't been yet. So more so like most of what people have seen at this point is like the indoor edition.
Yeah, the indoor edition.
And now we're back to the regular.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So if you're looking forward to seeing us outside, you're in for a treat. And if you thought the podcast was trash up until now, you're in for a treat, because
this is when we actually start.
No holds barred.
No holds barred. We're outside.
Yep.
There's no walls containing us anymore.
We're not messing around.
Yeah. This is fantastic.
Taking back the night.
Yeah. In the middle of the day.
Yeah. What, so I think we didn't do one last week, right? I think we were talking about Elden Ring last time, right?
Yeah.
What do we want to talk about this time?
Couple things have happened. The new Halo TV show came out. The first episode.
Exclusively on Paramount Plus.
Yeah.
Which means I have not watched it yet.
Exactly. Because who has Paramount Plus?
I don't know, man.
Besides people in their mid-40s.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
And that's why I got Paramount Plus.
Like dress for the job that you want.
Exactly. I look like I'm like in my
Paramount
80s.
Plus,
so.
yeah.
Yeah. I got the sweater for it.
Yeah, so that's happened. And we got a few other things we can talk about, but let's
dive into that first.
Let's start on that. Yeah, so you've seen it. I have not, but I guess I've kind of got some questions for you, because I'm very interested. What first thoughts? First impressions. What did you think?
I honestly thought it was pretty good. A lot of people said it was a knockoff Mandalorian. I wouldn't necessarily agree with that. It's a different universe. Come on.
It's just
because it's sci-fi.
Kind of a similar sci-fi world.
Yeah.
But there's,
based around
being a big Halo fan and a big Star Wars fan, there's some very big differences between the worlds. And like Halo's primarily, I guess the show and the books are kind of interesting because they kind of expand on the games, of course, right? So maybe this show will see some stuff we don't see in the games, but like as far as the games go, it's primarily a military universe. Like that's what it's focused on, like the Master Chief and soldiers and war and aliens, and it's a very it's just military focused, right?
Totally.
But in the books you get to see a bit of the rest of the Halo universe, right?
Yeah,
which is interesting because there's a lot of backstory there. So
yeah,
but
it was like the first like 10 minutes up until the opening credits, really great. Like, I thought it was really well done.
Good opening.
Good opening. The first episode's like an hour long, which was nice. So yeah, like the first like 15 minutes, like before the opening credits, were really good. And then you start getting into, you see a lot of action, which was really nice to see.
Sweet.
And it was gory. Like they took full advantage of the M rating or the mature, whatever it is for
Pumped it up
TV.
bit,
I think it's R rated. It might even be.
Yeah, I don't know. I know, like, yeah, I don't know how they rate stuff online. I know, like, as far as movies go, like, Canada has a little bit more of a they're a little more lenient or something like that. Like, something that would be rated R in the States will be like 14.8 or whatever.
Yeah.
In Canada, but then when it comes to like stuff online, I don't think they rate stuff differently for Canada than they do U.S. So
yeah, I think it's all pretty well the same.
I don't know, but yeah. Anyway, so that's interesting because, I mean, the games up until recently have, like, they've all had a mature rating until Halo 5 was rated teen, and then Halo Infinite, right? Which I thought was really weird because really the only thing they just kind of took out blood, and then like that got them like the teen rating. So I think, I don't know, they're probably looking to like sell to a
wider
audience, but I don't know. I thought it was weird that they like lowered the rate. I don't know. Halo was just always like mature game, so I don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that.
But yeah, so that's interesting.
Yeah.
It's the books are definitely gory like that too. Like, they kind of describe stuff in detail that, like, I even like I played Halo, and you're shooting guys and there's blood and stuff like that, but then like I was reading the book, I'm like, oh damn, like that guy's head exploded or whatever, right?
He's getting dismembered.
Yeah. So it's interesting. Now, without kind of like spoiling things too much, there's definitely some things I'm wondering, like, does it just immediately like open with Master Chief? Like, is he the clear focus of this show, or is he kind of a side character? Is he sort of mentioned and seen and whatever, but
no, he's pretty well the main.
He's a big part of it.
Main character, yeah. They introduce Halsey.
Okay.
Catherine Halsey, the creator of the Spartan program.
Too, yeah.
And they, like, without getting into too much spoiler warning, they cast recast some of the characters to be different races than they are in the games and the books, which who gives a shit? But it seemed weird, right?
That's kind of
it's already an established character.
Fine, but unnecessary.
Yeah. So like it felt a little weird.
Yeah.
But overall, I think,
especially when you're, say, like a show like
did
that.
Great job.
Yeah.
Though.
A show like that, I think you're waiting to, like, each character you see on screen, you're trying to figure out who they are, right? By their appearance, you look at them and, oh, hey, that looks like, I think that could be Sarah Palmer or whatever.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, exactly.
So that maybe just kind of like takes away from that a little bit, but
yeah,
that's an interesting move.
Yeah. And then they also did, and this isn't like too spoilery because everybody knew it was going to happen, but they unmasked Master Chief in the first episode.
See, I did not know that. I had not heard anything about that. I had no clue. But
I knew that they were going to unmask him and like show the actor, whoever the actor was, at some point. I just didn't think it would be first episode.
Now, yeah. That's pretty cool. That's exciting. I feel a little cheated because I had to play Halo 4 on Legendary and grind that shit out just to get a look at, like, his fucking eyes.
Yeah.
Right? The, like, Legendary ending was, like, they took off his helmet and, like, normally it just, like, goes black, right? But if it's, like, Legendary, you see, like this much of his face, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, dude, like, they showed his eyes.
Yeah.
He's a white guy with blue eyes, which, like, we knew anyway, or, like, if you read books and shit.
Yeah.
But that was, I don't know. And then just to, like, go to the series, like, you know, we've gone through so many Halo games, and it's this, like, big kept secret, and then just, like, to go to the series and just, like, immediately do that, it's good for the show, and it's pretty interesting. It feels like a little bit of a sellout, but
yeah,
that's okay. That's pretty cool. Is Blue Team, like the rest of his team, in there?
No, it is, and I want to say he was calling it Silver Team.
Why? So where does it fit in, like, timeline here?
This is during this is like early on. Cortana's not. This is way before Halo 1.
Really?
Yes. This is a prequel series.
Yeah.
Which I went in not knowing what time period. I tried to stay, like, I didn't want to read anything. I wanted
when I was seeing trailers for it, when I saw, like, other Spartans, and then also, like, Master Chief, the armor looks like a lot, like, reminiscent to, I mean, Halo Infinite in the newer games, right? Mm-hmm. Which they kind of just, like, Halo tends to do that, right? Like, they update stuff and but anyway, those to me look like Spartan 4s, right? Those didn't look like Spartan 2s. The one thing that kind of annoys me about Halo's the shows and stuff that they do is they don't really, like, stay what's the word, like, the appearance of a lot of the Spartans. It's not consistent.
Yeah.
So in Halo 1, you know, Master Chief's got his look, his very iconic look, and that was, like, the Mark V armor, I believe, and so that's what he looked like, and we were kind of led to believe that all the other Spartan 2s at the time wore pretty much just the same armor, and they were kind of the same color and just looked the same, right? Mm-hmm. Or at least is the impression that I got, right? And we even see in, like, Halo Wars, like, the armor, it just looks a little bit different because, you know, updated graphics and stuff like that. But all the Spartan 2s in Halo Wars have that armor that kind of looks like that. Like, it's the Mark V armor, and they all wear it. Mm-hmm. They all look the same. And so, okay, fine. Halo 2, of course, he gets an upgrade. He gets his Mark VI armor. And then he's kind of been wearing that armor since Halo 2. But, like, throughout the games, it looks a little bit different. And, like, okay, whatever. Yeah. That's, like, I honestly, the Halo 4 armor looked, like, drastically different.
Oh, totally.
To the point where I was like, that's got to be a new set of armor. But it
isn't.
It wasn't, yeah. And then, like, you know, looks a little bit different in Halo 5 again, and then, you know, Halo Infinite looks a little bit more like it did in Halo 3, so they're kind of going back. But anyway, as far as the other Spartan 2s go, like, we see, okay, so we thought they were all wearing the same type of armor, and then we see in Forward Unto Dawn, right, that kind of, like, mini web series with, like, Captain Lasky, we see Master Chief at one point, so he's got his iconic armor. And we see a couple members of Blue Team, right? I think Fred, and then it was either Kelly or Linda was with him. And they're wearing, like, Mark V, whatever, like, Halo Reach armor, essentially. Which is, like, what Spartan 3s wore, right? Or, like, we're kind of led to believe. So okay, so now they don't have the same armor as Master Chief. They have different armor. But then we see them again in Halo 5, and they have completely different armor than they did in Forward Unto Dawn. Okay, so maybe they changed it at some point. But then we get the show, The Fall of Reach, and we see the start of the Spartan 2 program, and when they initially get their armor, and they're wearing the armor that they're shown in Halo 5. So why in like the continuity do they this is the armor they originally get and then they're shown in a different one, and then Halo 5 they're shown in this new one. And anyway, it just like as Halo's not very consistent in like their depiction of the armor, I guess, which like bothers me just a little bit. So anyway, so when it comes to like this show, like the previews we've been seeing, I'm like, oh, this is all new armor. This is armor we've seen in the games. These must be Spartan 4s. These must be newer Spartans.
Yeah.
But obviously that's not the case.
Because one of the new Spartans, I can't remember what his name or number is off the top of my head.
Yeah. But then obviously
he's running EOD armor.
Yeah.
Which EOD wasn't an armor, well, until I guess
Halo 3, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or it might have even been Reach. Like, if it wasn't in Halo 3.
It was in Reach, but it was also in Halo 3. Like, in the games, we see it in Halo 3 first, I believe. But Reach, like, takes place first. Yeah, so... But then again, like...
It was just kind of weird.
In Reach, you're a Spartan 3. So you kind of assumed that, like, the armor they had was completely different from the Spartan 2s. But, yeah. So, like, all of those Spartans must be Spartan 2s then, hey? If they're taking place...
I believe so.
Way back then.
I believe so.
Yeah. So that's always been, like, just a little bit of a letdown for me. Halo's not quite as accurate continuity-wise as, say, Star Wars is or something. But they kind of just change and update stuff and don't give the best explanation for it. But, yeah, so... yeah, I was definitely curious when and where it took place. So, like, before Halo Reach, probably even, hey? Because I guess Halo Reach is kind of like just before.
It's before Halo Reach because you actually go to Reach
cool.
in the show.
And it's obviously not under attack.
No.
Yeah.
What might be cool is we might get to see the Fall of Reach in the show.
Maybe the season will...
The finale. I could see with
at that point or something. Yeah.
Season finale.
Yeah.
But... Yeah, I don't know. I really want you to watch it so that we can talk a little bit more in depth.
The one thing I was definitely excited for, though, was, like, all of these characters, because I liked the Halo Infinite campaign, but the thing I found was they kind of just, like, left out a lot of characters that I don't think they should have. Like, Halo 5, a lot of people didn't really like, but the thing I thought was very cool, like, Blue Team was back, first of all. You know, you have all this backstory about, like, Chief and the Spartan 2s, but then, Halo 1, Halo 2, Halo 3, none of them around. And the big question is, even Halo 4, right? He's just on his own. And the question is, like, okay, like, you know, a lot of the Spartan 2s died off, but where are the surviving members? Where are the surviving Spartan 3 members, right?
Oh, totally.
When Halo 5 rolled around and you could play as Blue Team, and then, like, even there's the Osiris team, I thought that was very cool. And I was like, oh man, like, Master Chief's always been this, like, loner character. You get him to see him with his fighter team, and that was very, very cool. And then Halo Infinite, they just completely scrapped that, and it's like, where's Blue Team? And he's, like, talking about, like, I don't have any family. It's like, yes you do. You have, like, all of your Spartan 2s that you grew up and trained with, right? So
exactly.
Where did they go? Like, they had more important stuff to do than saving the galaxy along with Master Chief, you know? Where was Blue Team? Where was Fire Team Osiris? Where was Halsey and the Arbiter and all that shit when it was happening? So Halo Infinite really seemed to just like scrap or not focus on a lot of characters that I really wanted to know what they were doing at the time. Sarah Palmer, what happened to her, right? Captain Lasky's kind of like mentioned, but and there's a few other Spartans mentioned, but you don't ever see any other Spartans, which sucks.
Yeah, it's kind of strange.
Yeah. So this is cool, and Halo's definitely about seeing the Spartans.
Yeah.
That's so Halo series with. Yeah, you're gonna want to see a lot of the Spartans in action.
Oh, totally.
So, very cool. What without any like again any big spoilers, do you have? Okay, like maybe we'll see the fall of Reach. Do you have any kind of big predictions, characters that might show up, anything like that? Something that you'd just be like, oh, you know what? It would be really cool if they showed this.
What they're leading to is the they're leading to like explaining why Master Chief is like emotionally connected, how he's not supposed to be like, you know, how he's a super soldier, he's supposed to be controllable, killing machine. And they're kind of leaning towards like he started out as that, but something happened that like made him more human, and in him becoming more human actually made him a better soldier.
Yeah, that's kind of been the theme, especially in the last few games. Like he has debates with Cortana and whatnot, and it definitely makes him a more interesting character because, as cool as it is playing as Master Chief, he's really doesn't. He's not that very deep of a character.
No. No.
Which is why I loved Halo Reach so much because. Like Noble Team was, you had these great characters and they all had different personalities, and like the character that you played as was kind of just the same as Master Chief, right? Didn't really say anything, didn't react to anything, but the rest of the team was the supporting characters were amazing, and they used like motion capture technology for the cutscenes. So you get a lot of interesting body language that you don't in any other Halo game. Like I love going back to Halo Reach and just watching the cutscenes and the body language between George and Emil when like Emil is kind of shooting his mouth off and George is trying to like shut him up, and he kind of like makes Emil flinch at that one moment, and like Emil talks big, but he's kind of like he wouldn't want to fight George. I don't want to say scared of him, but he knows that George is he's a soft guy, but he's pretty dangerous, right? So stuff like that, right, was very, and all the moments when they're just like beaten down and defeated and whatever. And then like I went to Halo 5 and you watch the cutscenes and there's just none of that. Some pretty decent characters there, I thought, but yeah, you didn't get any emotion from they weren't using motion capture technology, so like, you know, Buck just kind of like stood there and said his lines and moved his arms and whatever, right? There was it was
very
it was really interesting,
animatronic almost.
Yeah, and I like before I really like dove into it and discovered like, oh, they're using motion capture technology in Halo Reach. I noticed that, but I was like, I wanted to know why. I was like, why is this so good compared to this? So then when we come to the show, that's the cool thing about the Spartans is because especially the Spartan 2s were trained to be very emotionless and whatever, and they're these armored, you don't really see their faces that much, so you have to rely on the body language. I love characters like that where it's they maybe don't say a lot or they don't show a lot, but you have to look at just like the little micro body language reactions, right? To you're like, oh man, like the way that person like moved in that situation is like there was a little bit of an emotion there, and it's just so much more compelling to me than just like a character that's constantly just like talking about what they're feeling and like spilling that stuff out, right?
Yeah.
So I'm kind of looking. I'll definitely be looking for some of that in the show, especially from the Master Chief. Because in the games you don't really see. I mean, you're him most of the time, so you can't even see him. But and he talks very monotone. So no, that's very cool. And then I almost wonder, it'd be very cool if we could see like Noble Team at some point too, make an appearance, or at least like George, right? Because like he was a Spartan too. He trained with Master Chief, right? You never even like. George never mentions the Master Chief or anything like that. Like, I know there are a lot of Spartan 2s, but we're led to believe they're very, like, close-knit and whatever. I want to see, like, you know, George fighting alongside Master Chief or at least just, like, exchange a conversation or something like that, right? Like,
George just a passing
George's
acknowledgement.
Like, shown in the Fall of Reach, right? Like, as a kid. But that's it, right? Like... why I'd love to see that George, and then the rest of Noble Team would be very, very cool because they should be around at that time. They're a little bit younger, but like the Spartan 3 program wasn't too much later than the Spartan 2 program, and like Halo Reach only takes place right before Halo 1, so anyway, they'd been doing their it would be a good opportunity to show Tom to the other Noble Team member who dies before Halo Reach, and then your character
takes his spot.
It would be a very cool time to show him because he's kind of a blank slate. You could do whatever you want with that character because he's just a name and a number. He's just a placeholder, essentially. So
exactly.
They could come up
and
with
it's kind of surprising they
you,
haven't done much with that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm surprised there's no Noble Team book or anything, is there?
There's a couple comics
based on Noble Team,
I think, and stuff like that. Like, there's one that shows like why Emil like carves the skull into his visor eventually, and shit like that. So I believe Tom is around at that time, but again, like, he's kind of just a placeholder character. They don't really do much with him. So yeah, it's very cool to see them expanding. Or hopefully we get to see a lot more of the universe outside of just the games, right?
Oh, totally.
So that's very cool. Yeah. Anything else to
I don't think there's much else I want to go into without
giving anything away.
Without giving anything away.
All right, cool.
Be
cool to see. Yeah, there's so many characters. Even Buck, like, show some ODSTs or something like that, right? Like, he was around for Reach. He was around for Harvest, I believe, even, which was like the first Covenant
attack.
Attack on a human world. I also, like, I've missed. There's been no ODSTs in Halo 5 or Halo Infinite, and I missed that too. As much as cool as the Spartans are, and whatever, okay, the Marines will always be around. The coolest thing for me was like doing like Halo 2, like dropping with the ODSTs, and like Halo 3, like doing missions with the ODSTs, right? I don't know, they're so cool, man. When you like got into a mission with those guys, you're like, yeah, here we go. We're gonna mess some stuff up. Like, why? I think a lot of like ODSTs became Spartan 4s, but then I don't know. There must have still been ODST units. Like, why in Halo 5 and Halo Infinite, there's important stuff going on, and you're not sending in ODSTs.
Yeah.
Never. Right.
No.
So that would be cool.
It would be.
Yeah. Other things we could talk about, movie-wise, Moon Knight and Morbius are both coming out within like 2 days of each other, I believe. I think Moon Knight is March 30th, which is in a couple of days here, and then I believe Morbius is the 1st, April 1st, so literally like 2 days
later. Jeez.
And What do you think? Are you
I'm
interested
not.
in those?
Morbius, not so much.
Yeah.
Moon Knight, a little bit more. But again, like, I'm not super familiar with him, and could probably do some reading up on the character.
I'm definitely excited about Morbius. I've been looking forward to that one for a long time. I like him on Spider-Man. And that's cool. Like, we've seen some good anti-heroes now, right? The Punisher, and we've seen, like, Blade in the past, right? Blade and Morbius are usually... It's cool seeing them together, so... No, I hope Morbius is good. I'm definitely looking forward to that. Moon Knight looks interesting, though. I know, like, nothing about Moon Knight. I think it's supposed to he's supposed to have some kind of Egyptian connection, but that one is going to be cool, because I think I'll go into that movie just, like, knowing nothing and not much of an expectation, and I'm just really interested to see.
Is it a movie? I thought it was a series.
It's a movie, I'm pretty sure.
Oh.
I don't know. Maybe we can... yeah, no. I think movie. I don't know. Let's look like...
Yeah, take a look.
Let's look at, like, theater showings. Like, 90% sure it's a movie. What we got here?
Because Morbius is done by Sony, right?
I believe so, yeah. Because he's
a Spider-Man character still.
Yeah, he starts out as a Spider-Man villain. Oh, what am I doing? Maybe Sonic 2 is also coming out.
Hey.
Maybe you're right. I could have sworn it was a movie. Alright. Well,
does that change things
I'll
for
have
you?
to figure that out later. It does, because I still want to see it.
Yeah.
But like a movie, I would just go to a movie. If it's a series streaming somewhere, or like on TV somewhere, I have to like figure out where it is, and then that kind of decides, like, I'm not gonna pay for something new to get it, but if it's on something already.
Yeah.
But anyway.
It's on Disney Plus. Moon Knight.
Okay.
Yeah. Because it's Disney, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I don't know why I thought it was a movie. All right, interesting. I had this like plan. I was gonna go to like both on the same day, just like back to back, and maybe I'll like go to the theater and just like stream Disney Plus while I'm waiting for Morbius to start.
Go a half hour early and watch it in the theater.
But no, it's interesting. And like the thing everyone's saying is like, he's the Marvel Batman, right? Which is interesting. I wonder what, because I think he's. It sounds like he's like superhero, but a little more, maybe kind of gets to that anti-hero area.
Yeah.
Right. Where he it's kind of a mean dude. But yeah, cool for that. Saw the Batman, thought it was very, very good, and
nice.
Excited to see sequel. I watched Peacemaker, the series.
Okay.
Recently.
Right. You were telling me a little bit about that.
It was actually pretty funny. My favorite part about the series was his sidekick. He's got this sidekick named Vigilante, and he's just like a psychopath. Like, he just loves like killing people, but he's also just like a huge like dumbass. Like he's, I don't know. He's kind of, I thought, like a Deadpool character, but you know, kind of mouthy and says some very like fun and stupid stuff, but stands out on his own. I think not just a rip off of Deadpool. A very good character, but watching that and then like watching the Batman, it got me thinking about like sidekicks. I want to see more sidekicks coming up instead of what's your favorite sidekick if you had to pick one?
Well, my favorite superhero is Squirrel Girl.
Yeah,
because it's just like, come on, she defeated Thanos. Like, Squirrel Girl
That's true.
in the comics, defeated Thanos.
Yeah.
Out of every character.
So, like, canonically, she's a very powerful
Yeah.
character.
Even though she can only talk to squirrels.
Yeah.
So, like, I want to see a Squirrel Girl movie. Because,
That'd be sick.
like, come on. Like, you know there'd be an audience for it with the furries.
Oh, there's... Yeah.
And honestly, I think it would just
like
be a
the way
fun
Marvel's
character.
going right now, and they've kind of, like... I think they're kind of taking a break from the Avengers for a bit. Marvel can put out a lot of their... And DC, too, hopefully. A lot of their, like, lesser-known characters...
Well,
just put out there. I think
Iron
they've
Man
having
and
some
Thor
success with
were
it,
weren't super big characters before the movies came out.
Yeah, that's true. They were
known.
as far as the comic books go. Yeah,
they were known,
and they're a big part of the Avengers. But
they weren't as big as Captain America or the Hulk or X-Men or Spider-Man or any of those, right?
Pop culture,
yeah,
right. Before the whole Marvel, Phase 1 and stuff like that, not everybody was into superheroes, right? Like, growing up, I was exposed to a little bit of that, and I knew who Iron Man was, Thor, knew a little bit about it, but yeah, you ask people about superheroes, I think the big three were Spider-Man, Batman, Superman. Everyone kind of knew those three.
Exactly.
And further than that, it was a little more obscure. I remember becoming a Punisher fan, and no one knew who the Punisher was, right?
The only reason they knew would have been the early 2000s movie.
Yeah, and even that kind of, I think that was 2004.
That was kind of a dud movie.
Yeah, it kind of wasn't huge. Definitely.
No, it wasn't.
So, there was even a movie before that. There was a movie in the, I want to say 70s or something like that, or maybe not 70s.
Probably 80s.
Yeah, maybe 80s. There was a very old, and I don't think that really, no one's seen that, I don't think. But yeah, so it's very interesting. Daredevil, who the fuck knew who Daredevil was 20 years ago, right? And then all this stuff. So yeah, they could really, this is a good opportunity to, we've seen so much of Captain America and Iron Man, Hulk, Thor. Love Spider-Man, but and I hope to see more Spider-Man.
There will always be.
There will be plenty of Spider-Man. But even that, we've seen plenty of Spider-Man. Even before the Iron Man movie and stuff like that. That was pretty cool at the time, the original Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man.
Yeah.
That was kind of a big, I guess Batman and Superman were around before that. So, but those three were kind of big steps for superhero movies.
Oh yeah.
Because now their superhero movies are very, very mainstream. At the time, the Batman, well, even before Michael Keaton, that was 89, I think. But then there was Adam West did the Batman show back then. It was just, and there was a movie. It was very, very kind of cringy now, right, and goofy and whatever. But that was, I don't know how mainstream that was. It was pretty known, but not everybody watched it, right? And the Superman movies, right, the old ones. And then so they were having some success there, but I would say Spider-Man really kind of took a bigger step to kicking off these blockbuster superhero movies, and then Iron Man did it, and then it kind of went from there.
Yeah.
So
did you know that there was an actual Marvel Cinematic Universe before the one that we know? It was based around this 70s TV show that I believe it started with the Hulk. The Lou Ferrigno.
Lou Ferrigno, yeah.
So he was actually, there was a TV show universe for Marvel characters at that time. They had Captain America. They had
Thor was maybe around.
Thor.
And, and it was a little obscure. But
it was kind of goofy, but
again, not as well known.
Yeah.
But Oh, they've definitely been trying for a while. But anyway, so they've been having so much success. And now with Disney Plus, I mean, you can put so much content out there, so many superheroes. And you can kind of, like, I want all of them to be good. But the amount of stuff that they can do, like, it can kind of be hit and miss. You can put, like, 20 different series out there. And if, 4 of them are good, Disney's making money no matter what. So yeah, it's a good time to be doing that. DC hasn't had as much success trying to get their like main cinematic universe going. But I would say that the newest Suicide Squad did very well. And then that kind of kicked off the Peacemaker show. And we could see a few more of those characters getting their own shows, maybe another couple movies. So outside of the rest of their universe, again, Batman is just kind of always, I think they'll just keep doing Batman like all the time.
Yeah.
Which is fine. But anyway, so yeah, back to the Sidekicks. Watched the Batman, and it was kind of a younger version of Batman. He'd been, like he explains, he'd been around for about 2 years. He'd been doing this thing, right?
Yeah.
So I want to see Robin in the movies again. That's what I want. The Dark Knight movies were good, and they kind of like teased Robin at the end there.
Yeah.
I don't like, if they did Robin there, I don't like how they were going to do it. Like the guy that was the cop, and he's like, people just call me Robin, and no, I want like real like Dick Grayson. Like,
yeah. Oh, totally.
The acrobat and whatever. So and that's kind of why I liked watching the Titan series, because we see a bit of that. But I want I really enjoyed Robert Pattinson's Batman. Maybe I hope they do a sequel. Maybe not the next movie. Maybe they could set him up in the next movie, but then like bring him around for a third one. I think it would be a really good opportunity to get Robin in the movies again and see how they would do it, because the last time he was in a movie was like Val Kilmer's Batman. And then he was around for like George Clooney's Batman, which were like right after each other. But Batman at the time was not quite as dark as in the comic books. He's always been kind of dark, but like the media has been, or like mainstream media has been slowly kind of like
bring him back,
seeing what they can get away with, right?
Yeah.
The Joker and Batman, trying to make him more and more darker as people get a little more comfortable with it. Yeah, I want to see what like Robert Pattinson's Robin would look like, right? Would he be some comic relief to his very serious Batman? Would he also be kind of dark and serious and brooding? Would he be not as colorfully dressed? I want to like Robin's probably my favorite sidekick, and I want to see that. And that's the thing about DC, like Marvel superheroes. I think Marvel tends to have a lot less sidekicks than DC does.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Marvel is all these superheroes. They do really good with their team ups. X-Men and Avengers and whatever, right? And Spider-Man's been a part of a few different teams, but then at the end of the day he goes back to New York and he kind of just works by himself.
Yeah.
A lot of DC superheroes have sidekicks, and I want to see more of that, right? Like Batman and Robin. Aquaman, maybe we'll see Aqualad in the sequel coming up, right? The next movie.
I'm kind of surprised
Kid
they
Flash,
haven't done a
stuff like
Namor for Marvel.
Haven't done a what?
Namor? Atlantis?
Oh, yeah.
Because that's a pretty big
Yeah.
plot point in a lot of the comics is Namor.
Yeah.
Because Aquaman for
Yeah.
for Marvel.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'm kind of surprised we haven't seen any of him, because that would be a cool world to explore, like the whole Atlantis. Like, it would be interesting to see how Disney would like explain that into their universe.
Is that the character that there have been a lot of like teases and talks about Keanu Reeves playing, I believe.
Maybe. I don't
think
know.
it might be.
I can't.
I can't remember the name, but there was like, it was obviously a character I didn't really know very well, but it was like an aquatic.
Yeah, then it was.
Or maybe he was like, might have been like a villain that had to do with that. But I think he was the superhero guy. Anyway, so they might be
kind of going into
trying to, lead up to that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that'd be very cool.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man, I just want to see more. I want to see more sidekicks.
Yeah. No, that's fair. That's fair.
How are we doing for time?
We're pretty good actually. We could end it there if you want.
Wrap it up.
Yeah.
All right. Watch Halo. Watch Peacemaker. Watch Moon Knight.
Yeah.
Go see Morbius.
Yeah. We got a couple pop culture things to do.
Yeah.
Coming up this week.
That's right. All right.
Cool. Well, thanks for
See
tuning in.
Next week.
Catch us now maybe on Sundays, live on Twitch, and our video should still be uploaded on Mondays.
Figure it out, but yeah.
So
that's what the hope is.
That's the hope. Hope you guys enjoyed, and we will catch you in the next one.
Bye.
Peace.